96.7 Lights FM.
Hello, book lovers. Welcome to another episode of the Public Library Podcast. Got a great book for you today. Real life, real family. And I'm here with the authors, DJ Envy and Gia Casey. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thanks for having us.
I'm so excited because I love your love, first of all.
Thank you.
And I love how you share it and how you share your love and your family with other people to hopefully make their lives better.
Mm-hmm.
And what's a better purpose in life than to do something like that?
Absolutely.
So thank you for sharing this.
Thank you.
But first, let's start talking about, I know this is your second book together, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you decide to write this book?
We wrote the first book, Real Life, Real Love. It was all about our relationships. If you don't know backstory, Gia and I have been together 31 years. We've been married 24. We have 6 kids, which range from 23, 21, 11, 10, 8, and 3. And when we talked about the relationship book, there were so many people. We were very vulnerable. We talked about things most people wouldn't. And so many people hit us on DMs or stopped us in the street and said, your book saved our marriage, or your book saved our relationship. Mm-hmm. And the reason they said that is they were like, you guys were so vulnerable. I realized that it just wasn't me that was going through the things that you were talking about. Yeah. And it opened up a conversation that me and my husband or me and my wife can talk about. And we wanted to do the same thing with kids. We know it's not easy having kids. When your kids are born, your kid doesn't pop out and they give you an instruction manual. Like, it doesn't work like that. You have to figure it out, and you have to believe in society or other parents and things like that. And with us, we've said, wow, we have 6 kids. I think we have a little experience with that. And, people always come up to us and say, you know what, your kids are amazing. You know, your kids are so polite, so respectful. The one story I always tell is our 10-year-old son. We went to a STEM night, back to school night type of thing. And a grown man came up to me. He wasn't a teacher. He wasn't my son's teacher. And he was like, I just want to tell you, your son Jackson has done something that no parent or student has ever done to me. So at first I'm like, oh boy, what did this kid do? And he was like, I was walking down the hallway and he stopped me and he says, are you okay? And I said, yeah. He was like, no, you just don't look happy like you usually do. If there's something wrong or something going on, you can talk to me. We can talk. I won't let anybody know, but I just want you to feel happy again. So if you're having a problem or if there's an issue, come talk to me. And he was like, nobody has ever said that to me. So that just shows the way that you're raising him is raising him to be a good person. And we was like, we have to do a book.
I love that. I mean, that's a calling right there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I found, obviously on the cover of the book, you have your mission statement. And I'm like, I never thought of that. Mm-hmm. Doing a mission statement for your family. Lord, I know I would love that in my own family growing up. I'm from one of 6 as well.
Oh, wow.
So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But where does the idea of the mission statement come from?
So it kind of stemmed from the idea of a vision board, if you will. A lot of adults will make a vision board, and on that vision board you put your goals, your aspirations, things that you want to attain, and how you plan on getting there, where you want to see yourself in 5 years. There's an end goal to a vision board. When you have a family, realistically it's no different. You start a family with a goal. We have the ability and the authority to cultivate and to create the families that we want and desire. But you have to see it first.
Yes.
You have to have in mind what it is that you want, the type of children that you want your kids to be. And we said, you know what, we're going to create a mission statement. At first, we did it just him and I when my kids were younger. Mm-hmm. But then when they got older, we incorporated everybody in the mission statement. And we wanted to say, how do you guys see our family? How do you identify us as a family? What's important to you? What do you want to see us achieve as a family? We had a big family meeting and we came up with a remixed version of our original mission statement. And it's because the articulation of putting something in writing, it always gives someone something to refer back to. It's always a reminder. It's your mind's eye. And when you're acting in a way that's not in alignment with that, that mission statement calls you back to center. It's because you have something concrete as a reference.
That was one of my favorite things, and I like that you hit it early in the book.
Yes.
Because it's something that's so simple,
Mm-hmm.
but how many people have ever thought of it?
Right.
I mean, like I said, I'm from one of 6, and we're spread out too, almost like 2 families, because me and my younger sister often talk about, we had different parents.
Mm-hmm.
They had strict parents.
Mm-hmm.
We had those that were like tired by the time we came along. And
Yes,
we're like,
that's a
yeah,
real thing.
let them get away with it.
Yes.
But what do your kids think of this book?
Our kids trust us.
Okay.
And they love us. And people always ask, well, how did you gain that trust and why? And I think it was parenting styles. And Gia and my parenting style is totally different. I was raised, I say it all the time, my dad was a retired police officer, ex-military, so it was his way or the highway. So his answer was because I said so. And that's the way I grew up. Dad, can I? No. Why? Because I said so. I left it alone. Gia was a little different. Gia has more patience. Gia likes to explain why. So if a kid asks, can I have this? Gia says no, and this is the reason why. Well, because, you can't go to the mall at this time because there's a lot of teens at the mall and it's Friday night and they might be drinking and nobody's there around to protect you. And she explains so the kids understand. So now when we say a reason or something, the kids understand and they trust us. So when we're doing this book and we're talking about some of our personal stuff, our kids trust us.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I know this is going to be one of those tough questions because you're not going to want to answer half of it. But what do you love most about parenting?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you love least?
You want to start on me?
You can start.
I love most about seeing their smile. I love seeing their growth.
Yeah.
I love seeing them happy. I like seeing them fall and learning from their mistakes. Those are the things that I really enjoy. Now, what I like least is probably not having enough time.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And the reason I say that is we're in this industry,
Yeah.
and this industry is a work. So it's those moments. So one thing I would say I admire, or I would say I'm jealous a little bit of Gia, is she has more time than I do. A lot of times I'm sleepy. I'm up at 4:00 in the morning. She's up right behind me getting the kids ready. But with her, she has the time to listen. When our kids sitting at the foot of the bed and they talk about my locker was this and today I had this at math and this girl ate this and this boy did this and then when I was on the potty this happened. She has the patience and the time and the wherewithal to just sit there and understand and enjoy. Me, I'm like, babe, the Knicks is on. Can you come back in 15 minutes? My Giants are beating they're not beating the Eagles.
They're
But
not going to beat the Eagles.
But the Giants are on. Can you come back? But Gia stops everything for the kids. I'm starting to, but I just wish I had more time.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. For me, being a mother is what I do best. So I'm good at being a wife, but I think I'm better at being a mother.
I love that.
Because the tools that you need as a mother, for most women, it comes naturally. It's inherent in our fiber. So I really revel in that. That is my happy place. The best thing, it's a little bit of a two-part answer. The best thing about being a mother is seeing everything that we pour into them as parents come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you're cultivating a garden and then you start seeing those fruits and those vegetables grow and emerge from the earth and be beautiful and be plump and ripe and sweet. That's what being a mother feels like to me. And the second thing, not that you asked, but I'm going to say it, is, and I'm thinking about it because my oldest, my 23-year-old Madison, she has a boyfriend and we were just talking about her future plans. And we're in the kitchen. We have a big kitchen. And every 2 seconds, another kid was running into the kitchen and asking a question or showing us something or doing a handstand, walking into the kitchen. And it's just so full of life and excitement and liveliness and noise and joy and happiness. And I said to her, can you imagine having a home where you're standing in your kitchen and there's not a bunch of kids? She said, honestly, I can't. She said, I love this too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that for me, that's the nail on the head. It's the joy that having a big family, all these fruits, and they all come together in your garden, what that feels like.
I know what it feels like. And as I'm listening to you, it's just bringing me such joy.
Yes.
I only wish that we had a nickname like the Chew Crew. That is so cute. And I thought, not Maddie Chew.
Yes.
So you guys wrote this book together. You've been together forever. What was that process? Do you sit down and do it with each other? Do you take your part and go right here and your part and go right here. What was that process? I'm fascinated by that.
It's a little bit of both, I think.
It's a little bit of both. We talked about where the value was going to lay.
Okay.
Like, what is the most important things that we want to convey? What are the most important lessons that we've learned over our time together as parents? Where did we fail? Where did we succeed? What can we extract from our lives that's going to be the most beneficial for our readers to be as successful as they can be with our guidance? And we came out with an outline. And we talked, we mulled over it night after night, because it's not something that we talk about. It's something that you kind of just do, with the exception of the mission statement, unless you butt heads and you got to talk that out. But when everything's going great, it's not really something that you talk about. So we had to really understand where our parenting styles came from and how we came to the ends of all of these roads, because that's like a dialing back process to figure out exactly how is it that we ended up where we are. So we did that for months, and then we would just take notes, and then we talked about what parts each of us were best suited to cover. And then we did that. And we conferred with each other on each other's parts as well, but it was really a meeting of the minds, and it actually brought us closer together as a couple and as parents.
And that was one of the things that I noticed too about this book, is that it's a workbook. It's not a lecture.
Yes.
It's you're engaged in the process. You're a part of the process. You leave places for you to take notes and then highlight points as well that offer tips in this. And I think that is so important. Why did you choose that direction?
Because a lot of people don't even understand their own parenting style, because they haven't really taken the time to think about it. A lot of parent one of two ways. In the way that they were parented, so they're just continuing what it was that they learned. They don't think about it. They just say no because their parents said no to them. They just follow suit. And then some people despised the way that they were parented, so they parent in the exact opposite way. But a lot of people don't put a lot of thought into it. So for us, it was very important to be mindful and very thoughtful in provoking people to be very mindful and thoughtful in their process.
What do you really hope people take away from this book?
For myself, I want people to be open, honest, and to learn. Hopefully some of the things that we said in this book can help people on their journey, whether they have one child, a bunch of children, or they're thinking about having children. Like I said, there is no instruction manual when you get a kid. There is no guide. You just have to figure it out on your own. And for a lot of people, it's very difficult. Thank God I had my parents. I had Gia. We had Gia's parents that were able to help us. But it was also being vulnerable and being open, right? If I raised my kids the same way that I was raised, which was great, I didn't necessarily get the most out of as I should. Meaning, my parents were so strict that I hated it. I wanted to leave. As soon as I turned 18, I wanted to get out of that house. But I didn't understand what my parents were doing until I started having the kids. Why he was so protective. Why he was so scared, right? And we came up in a different era than these kids. You know, these kids, yes, they have social media, but we had the crack era. We had the drug era. We had the all this growing up in New York. And my dad, who was a police officer, wanted me to stay out of that. You know, so he wanted to be on my neck so I was in the house. He wanted to be on my neck so he didn't see some of the kids that he arrested or some of the kids that he seen killed. So having those conversations with my kids makes them understand earlier. I really didn't understand until I had my kids, and I was like, oh, my dad was right. This is the reason. And I thank God every day that my dad didn't pass away and I was able to say, Dad, I love you. Thank you. You know, because when I'm a child, when I'm 18, 19, I just want to get out the house. I mean, I need to get out this house. So I want them to see other ways of raising kids, and hopefully our way helps you out as much as possible in your journey.
If nothing, it makes you think.
Absolutely.
Yes. For me, I want people to understand that they are their child's biggest example. You are your children's most common denominator. You are the ones that are the biggest predictor of your children's future, how your children are going to turn out because they are watching you every day. They're learning from you, good or bad, every single day. So as parents, it's lost on most people that they should be deliberate and very purposeful and intentional in the way that they parent, yes, but the way that they carry on, the way that they genuinely are around their kids, because our kids are sponges and they're absorbing everything. If you curse in front of your children regularly, you are going to have children, more than likely, that curse because they think it's okay, and to them that resonates as normal. In our household, you're not even allowed to, the younger children are not allowed to say bad words. And by bad words, I'm not talking about your common curse words. You're not allowed to say fat, ugly, annoying, things like that, because those are all words with negative connotations. And I want them to learn from home that we don't ever look at other people and ingest that. We don't identify ugly, or you don't call your sister annoying, because what is that? That's a hit. That's a blow. Yeah. And then what happens in your home, your younger child will start to identify themselves as annoying. Oh, I'm annoying, or oh, I talk too much. I never want my children to have negative connotations about themselves. So you have to be very, very deliberate in the way that you interact with your kids and how you teach your kids. And I just think that that's lost on a lot of people in the broader scope of it.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's funny. It made me remember as kids, we could not say the word fool. Mm-hmm. Fool was a bad word. Mm-hmm. Your book covers many virtues when it comes to what you want to instill in your kids. If you were to pick one virtue from all the chapters in this book that you wish each and every one of your kids had over all of them, what would that virtue be?
I would want them to have a strong self-identity.
Okay.
Because with that, everything else follows. Having a strong sense of self and being able to earn the right to validate yourself because you've already been validated within your home and by the people that are most important to you, that love you deeply and that support you. Once you have that validation, you can conquer most things that life throws at you, because you're not looking for validation outside of the home. You're not looking for those outside of the home to tell you who you are or what you should be. You don't succumb to the whims of others. And that's where a lot of people fail. That's where self-consciousness comes into play. That's where lack of confidence comes into play. That's where lack of empowerment comes into play. You want your child to be able to walk into any room and know that they belong there because they decided to walk into it. You want children that feel as though they're worthy of being heard. When I speak, I'm worthy of being heard. And where do you get that? From the home, from parents that pay attention to you, parents that are interested in you, parents that ask you questions. It really breeds a sense of belonging and strong self-identity.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I mean, I'm from a different world with social media, and I don't want my kids to look for any type of anything from the outside world. I think, a lot of times social media is a great place for what it was created for, hopefully, right. But it turned into a negative place, and it turned to a place of bullying. And you see so many kids with depression and suicide and anxiety and all that from people that they don't know. People that are doing this just to make themselves feel better. So if they can get that self-esteem, that good self-esteem, that confidence from the home, you ain't got to worry about that.
Empowerment. Yes.
I love that. So when it comes to books that might have helped you, were there any books that you guys read?
No.
Well, that's good to know.
No.
Especially when you talk about there is no owner's manual.
Yes. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. We're not big readers. I don't have the time. With 6 kids and a husband, I don't have the time. Every time I try to crack a book at the end of the night, I wind up falling asleep. As good as the book is, I wound up not being much of a reader because I don't have the energy. And that's where Audible is.
Oh, I love Audible.
That's a great thing, because now when I'm in my car,
right.
You can listen to a book on my way to work or home or on the way to dropping my kids off at school. I can grab little bites of a book. But no, this is all just drawn from our experience in our lives.
Do you two voice the audible
Yes.
of your own
We
book?
do.
Oh,
We
that's
do.
awesome.
We do. And I want to add that at the end of the book, we have a friend, and she's also our business manager. Her name is Mercedes. She's very, very close to our family. She was on vacations with us and everything. And we asked her if she would do us the honor of being the source of our bonus content at the end. We said, will you interview all of our children?
Mhm.
Will you come up with the questions?
That's right.
You interview them with us not there, and we want to get their genuine answers of whatever it is that you choose to ask because you know us best. So there is bonus content at the end of the article.
Well, that sounds really cool.
Mhm.
I love that.
Yes.
You know, because when you write a book about your kids and it's like, how much are they a part of it?
Yes.
That's there you get your answer right
And
there.
you know what's value about it? Like, these are little kids, you know. These
Yeah.
are 11, 10, 8. The 3-year-old might have said a couple of
Yeah, she might
words.
say, yeah.
So as a listener, you would know they couldn't have been coached through it.
That's
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
But-
you can't coach an 8-year-old. Like, sing your parents' praises. So you know it's authentic. It's
Yeah.
authentic. It's and it's good. It's good.
And if people want to find out more about your book, obviously you get it at all the normal places. But you also have a podcast
Yes.
where you basically extend what you're doing
Yep.
Yes.
in this book.
Yes.
Tell us about that real quick.
So it's the Casey Crew Podcast, and we talk about relationships, we talk about family, anything to do with family relationships we dive into, and we don't hold back. It's not all the glitz and glamour. We talk about everything. We'll jump into sex. We'll jump into infidelity. We'll
Not
jump
while you're
into-
in the podcast.
No, not while we're in the podcast.
I mean, that'd be a real treat.
Yeah. We talk about self-esteem.
I love it.
We talk about ADD, ADHD. We talk about all that. You know, everything wrapped in that. Somebody would have a question, problem, concern. We dive into it, and we take the gloves off and we break it down to the T. Where sometimes Gia and I go back and forth, and we have a difference of opinions, but we settle it right there on the podcast. Very entertaining.
Great. And you can find that obviously on the iHeart Radio Network.
Of course, I already
Yes.
Yeah.
have.
And if people want to follow you, do you have a specific page for your writing, your books, or however you want to share?
We put everything on Instagram.
Okay.
So I'm Gia_Casey.
Okay.
And I'm just at DJMV, and that's on Twitter, that's on X, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, Facebook, and on TikTok. So you can follow us, love us, leave drop a comment. Gia reads every single
Okay.
comment.
Learn from you.
Yes, yeah, learn as well. And just to tell you, Gia reads every comment. I don't. But Gia will read every
You're a
single
strong woman.
comment.
Yes. I just find that if someone does you the honor of following you and takes time to leave a comment, at the very least, I'm going to take the time to read it.
Okay.
I try to respond as much as I can, but at the very least, if it's a nice comment, I always like it.
Okay.
But I like to be interactive with people that invest in me. Yes.
Sometimes the comments aren't nice.
Yeah,
this is
That's
true.
why I say you're
That's true.
brave.
This is true.
That is
This is true.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the
Thank
show
you.
today.
Thank you so much.
I love what you're doing. I do. I love love. I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm a hopeful romantic. Definitely not hopeless. And the idea that you started so young as a couple and have endured, and then you've produced 6 beautiful lives and souls that are going out to make the world a better place makes it even better. So it's my honor to spend this time talking to you guys.
Thanks.
Thanks
It's
for having
ours
us.
as well.
Appreciate it.
Is
yes.
there another book on the way? I'm waiting for the sibling book next.
We were talking about this in the car yesterday.
We might. I mean, we enjoy writing and we enjoy sharing as much as we can to people. So we have a couple of ideas for a bunch of different things. So hopefully it's in the cards.
All right. Well, let us know and keep us posted.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you guys.
All right.
106.7 Lights FM.